This call is being recorded.
So, what's up, everyone? What's up, us tribe? This is Dre in the building.
With Renee. And guys, we have a special guest tonight. Her name is Aarika, and she's going to be telling us about her experiences in the land of interracial dating.
Oh, such a joyous experience too. That's sarcasm, and you didn't get that, but
So, Erica, thank you so much for joining us. We are definitely honored that you came on to share your experience. We want you to be as open and authentic as you can. No heat, no judgment, because we're all learning from experiences. So we're just happy to have Erica on. So make sure you guys show her some love and light throughout the podcast.
Right.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's kick it off. Oh, hi, little baby. But
Sorry, my baby's in the background. Come here, mommy.
hi.
Okay. Good job. You're good. Okay. I know, Bobby. Here. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
All right. No, we always take time to appreciate Black parents. So it's all good. Um. So how did you find yourself dating white men?
Oh, you know what? To be honest with you, I felt like when I was growing up, I didn't feel like I was attractive to black men.
Mhm.
And I think it was just because in high school I was considered like weird because I didn't listen to the same music that my peers listened to.
Mhm.
I didn't like the same things just like culturally. I was never good at like, I don't know, like I know one thing I remember growing up, my friends would say like I didn't know how to cuss. And it was like, I don't know, that was just a thing growing up and going to like public school. I felt like I needed to do to fit in a little bit better. And I just never felt like I was like blending in. And I don't know if that's because in elementary school, I went to a private school and a lot of the mentality there is kind of like, oh, we're all equal and we're not, and I didn't recognize that until I had to get into dating and college and all of that to realize that. So I think it initially just started as me feeling like I didn't fit in, and the crowd that I did fit in with were white people. And so that's who I just kind of started dating. But I don't think I've never had a successful relationship, I would say, with a white man. And the majority of my relationships always ended up ending because of race. Something about race would come up.
Okay.
Do you mind giving us an example? Because
Yeah.
like that, like
Right.
Yeah,
how
so
would work?
like I had one boyfriend who was, I would say he was a serious boyfriend. And he had a group of friends. Which one you want to press? Hold on. I had a group of friends that I would one second. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
I don't know why it's not working, Mommy. Can you do me a favor and go get the iPad? Okay, well I don't know what to tell you. So so we had dated for a while, and he wanted me to meet his friends, and I had no problem with that because I feel like I can kind of like be okay with any group, right? I try to find some common ground with any group. So
Right.
I tried to talk to his friends, and they were kind of would make little digs or something like that. And I noticed they would post comments on pictures that we would share, pictures we would put on social media, like, oh, did you go on vacation in the jungle to find your girlfriend? Or yes, or I don't know. It just things like that. And so I would tell him, like, firstly, I feel like the friends that you keep are a reflection of who you are, right? Because there's no reason you'd be hanging out with those people unless you found some sort of common ground with them. And you obviously feel close enough to them to call them your friends. I was like, but you have to realize that the stuff that they're saying is not okay, right? Hold on just 1 second, because my daughter, I'm trying to prevent her from having a conniption. Hold on. Okay. Your screen is dirty, so we gotta clean it. We'll start working when it comes back on. Okay, so I was trying to tell him, like, your friends are ignorant, first of all, and that is kind of a reflection of you, and I think you should talk to them about this because it's making me upset. And I feel like if this relationship is going to be as serious as you want it to be, you need to address that those comments are not okay, and you need to check your friends. And his excuse was, oh, but they're my best friends, and we've known each other for so long, and they're just joking. They don't mean anything by it. And I'm just like, okay, but if I'm telling you I'm really upset by this, like, obviously that's something that's important to me, and if you care about me, you should try to address that. They're your friends. That's not for me to check them. That's for you to check them.
Right.
And he would make lame attempts to do it. He would just, oh, don't say that, you guys. That's not nice. And I'm just like, that's not what I mean by you need to talk to your friends and tell them that what they're saying is messed up. Like saying that you got your girlfriend from the jungle because I'm black. I was like, if you had a white girlfriend, would they have said the same comment? No. And they're like, well, but they're not racist though. They're not racist. And so that was like one incident, right? And I would tell them, like, just because you have black friends does not mean that you're not racist. You can still be a racist and have black friends. You just see them as, like, an exception to what you think blackness is, but that doesn't mean you're not a racist. You tolerate one black person. So, like, that was just one incident that bothered me a lot. Or I had same boyfriend I was used to straighten my hair to the point where it just was like so fried, and like nothing against straightening hair, but for me personally, I don't straighten my hair anymore. So when I tried to kind of start going natural, he was like, when I first did it, he looked at me kind of strange. He's like, "What'd you do to your hair?" I was like, "This is my, like, how my hair naturally grows out of my scalp." I was like, "It's curly," and he was just like, "Well, he's like, I think you look a lot cuter when your hair is straight." And I was just like, but this is the actual me, though. The straight hair is just something I do for, like, aesthetics, but that's not how my hair is. Like, if we're going to get married or whatever, like you're talking about, then this is what you're going to see the majority of the time. And he's just like, oh, well, he's like, I don't mind the curly hair. It's cute, but I think you just look better with the straight hair.
Wow.
Were you guys living together?
Do? No, we were not living together, but we were dating for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was just like, instead of me standing up for myself and like leaving him then and after the whole friend thing, I straightened my hair more, and my hair ended up falling out, and I was stressing out about my relationship, and then eventually he ended up cheating on me with a white woman. Like, what the fuck? Like, I put up with all this stuff.
With
To
a
be with
Yeah,
you,
white woman. Hold on, let's
with a
pause.
white
So you
woman.
said with a white woman. Wow.
Yeah. So that to me, like, I was just talking to my friend about this last night. We were having a conversation, and I said, because my friend that I was talking to is white, and I was telling him, like, I was going to do this podcast, and I was like, I'm just letting you know, I'm going to be talking about white men in this podcast, but you as my friend, I know you support me in this, because he just got out of a relationship with a black woman. And so he's like, yeah, I know there's a lot of, like, toxicity with interracial relationships, and it's, like, this kind of weird thing. Like, you want to think that we as people can move on, but the history of black women in this country with white men is just it's just so much. It's hard to just kind of move past that. And it's so ingrained in this society, just like the dynamics are so fucked up. But so, excuse my language, but dynamics are messed up, right? So I was talking to him about kind of his experience too, because I was like, I want to know from your point of view what you think as a white man dating black women. Like, how is that for you? Like, is it like a fetish kind of thing? Is it that you just prefer like, what is it? Like, what makes you prefer black women over white women? And he was just saying, like, I don't know, I just prefer, like, I think the culture is richer. I think people are more accepting and all these other things that he gave me. But he was talking about how one of the things his ex hated was the thought that he would leave her and date a white woman. And I told him, like, that's something that's always kind of triggered me too, because, and I wanted to explore, like, why is that a trigger? Like, because if my ex was white, I shouldn't have a problem with him dating another white woman because he's white, they're white, whatever. They can just be white and happy together. But I should, like, be okay with that, but I'm not, because I feel like black women are already placed at the bottom of the totem pole with society, and I feel like we already feel like we're like climbing an uphill battle, right? Like in terms of like beauty, in terms of just social acceptance, all of that stuff. So I feel like when you are dating a black woman, you have to realize that they're bringing so many other dynamics into the relationship that you will never understand, but you have to just be supportive and respect that. And so for you to like leave and go to a white woman makes me feel like, so what you're telling me really is like, I'm not beautiful, I'm not good enough because you left me for somebody who I've been constantly told is more beautiful and better than. So it just felt like, and that might not have even been the case, but I felt like subconsciously that's really what it is.
Mhm.
Did you ever
Mm.
feel fetishized by white men?
Mhm.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I hate this is when like being kind of equated to food items. And I told I'm a teacher.
Mm,
I teach
Mm.
elementary school, 5th grade. Well, they just put me
because
in
they're
middle school, so I
cannibals.
get my kids back again, right? So
Right.
like I
Right.
told my kids, because the kids that I teach are all people of color, Southeast Asian and Asian kids. And I tell them, like, you know, you have to realize that because I've experienced racism within my classroom. I've heard my kids say racist jokes about black people, and I'm like, I'm the only black teacher in that school. I was like, so
Mm.
first of all, let me let you know that's not going to fly in my class at all. I was like, I'll stop my entire lesson to address that because I
Right.
need you guys to know that's
Mhm.
not okay. This is why it's not okay. This is what we're going to do moving forward. If not, we're going to have an issue and your parents are going to have to get involved because that's where it's stemming from. You guys are
Right.
10 years old. So what I really need to do is have a conversation with your parents to let them know whatever they're doing, that's not okay and that needs to be addressed. But
Mhm.
Right.
anyway, sorry, I like went off on a tangent. So like the whole fetishizing is like being equated to food items. Like I hate when guys refer to me as like chocolate. That gets on my nerves because I'm just like
Wow.
that. It really bothers me because I'm like I'm not something you just consume. Like don't sit
Yeah.
there and call me chocolate, caramel, toffee bit, whatever. Please don't call me those things. Like I'm not chocolate. Chocolate's delicious. I'm not chocolate though. Chocolate is something you eat. Chocolate is something you buy. Chocolate is something
Mhm.
you sell. That is not me. So if you're just, I don't know how graphic I can get on this
You
podcast,
get
Oh,
you
but
get
you're
graphic.
good. Go ahead. Go ahead. We good.
I've had
The network
guys
didn't already
say
put explicit next to us, so
it
we
because
good.
I'm telling you this like NSFW kind of stuff. So I've had a guy tell me like, I like the way my white dick looks going in your black pussy, and I'm just
Woo!
like, excuse you, sir.
Oh
Like
my
what?
What?
I was like,
God.
what about that? Why? Like I need to
What?
know why you are liking that. Like not like the sensation, the whatever, the this, but the contrast of color is something that gets you off, and I'm trying to figure out why that is.
Wow.
Because subconsciously, there's always a reason for something. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? Like something that you wanted to conquer that you didn't feel like you could, and that was
Yeah.
like the thing. Like, I don't know, girl, I don't know. But so stuff like that has been said, or like um some of the stuff about my like kinky hair. Your hair is so kinky, it looks so wild, and I'm just like wild. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Like I
Like
Mm.
I'm
don't
gonna tell
there's
you
things
guys
like
I
hmm?
was go ahead. I was gonna tell you guys a story. This white man that I know, he always like low key hitting on me or whatever, right? And so
Mhm.
he likes to come and he says, "All my kids is black." I'm like, okay,
What?
you know.
Okay.
That's
He's like,
weird.
yeah, but see, I don't tell them they black. I tell them they biracial because I had
What?
something to do with that too.
Oh my God, no, sir.
Uh
Please have a seat out of here.
Yeah, I'm like,
uh
okay. So that's like
Wow.
they like white men. They're like incredibly obnoxious when it comes to trying to
mm,
tell you that they
Yeah.
want to have sex with you. You know?
Yeah, they
mhm.
are, and they try to,
Exactly.
and so that segues to a question that I have, because I always wanted to know, how do white men hit on black women? Like, how did they pretty much approach you when it comes to dating, or even want to bed you, whatever we want to call it? Like, what are
Mhm.
some of the terms they said? How was their approach? Because I don't see them like, you know how black guys like, oh, what's up, ma? I'm from the East Coast. What's up,
Yeah.
ma? What's up, this? Like, was it,
Mhm.
how was that? Like, can you give us some
You
examples?
know, yeah, like one thing too is when they try to like this I think is it just spans kind of beyond dating, but when white people try to I guess make you feel like, oh, I'm down, and they
Mhm.
try to use slang, like cultural slang, and I'm just like, it doesn't even sound right with you saying that. I'll be like, hey, queen, and I'm like, oh, please don't say that anymore.
What?
Like, please don't call me queen.
Queen?
I'm like, yes. They'll be like, hey, queen. I'm like, excuse me, sir, are you lost? Like, I hate when,
Are you
like,
serious?
Wow.
I'm serious. I've been called queen by white men, and it makes
Oh
me so
my God.
uncomfortable. It makes me
Yeah,
so
and
Wow.
you know,
uncomfortable.
like they
Hey,
love
queen, and I'm just
emphasizing
like,
the Africa part too. They're like, "Oh, you
yes,
African
my African
goddess."
queen. I'm like,
Yeah.
first of all, I don't know
Yeah.
where my people were stolen from. So don't please don't call me like African whatever. Like you don't, I don't know anything about Africa. You
Right.
probably know more about it than I do. So I'm just like, can you not do that?
You.
Oh my like the chocolate thing again always comes up. Oh my hot chocolate, and I'm just like, oh
What?
sir,
Oh
please
my
come up with
God.
something better.
And they
Yeah,
always like
That
use
yes.
is
some
so
really
weird.
cold like jive
One
turkey kind
It
of
guy,
slang.
is. That is so weird.
yes, exactly. One guy, oh, can you twerk for me? Show me how you twerk.
No,
Oh
he
First of
didn't.
all, I
my
ain't
God.
got no flexibility, so don't ask me to be twerking because you can be sorely like disappointed. And just I don't know things like that. Oh, one guy even said, you know what he said? Oh, I want to take you out for fried chicken. Let's go get
No,
some
he didn't.
fried chicken for dinner.
No. Oh my
Yes.
God. I
And I want to be like,
cannot.
first of all, fried chicken's delicious. But second of all, would you have approached a white woman and said, let me take you out for some
No.
fried chicken? Because if that's not the case, please don't bring that over here, sir. Like,
Oh
That
please
is
don't
my
bring that over here.
God.
terrible.
That is so terrible because
Like,
I
it's
mean,
so obnoxious. And
it
I feel like
is.
they talk to black women in ways that they would not talk to white women
Of
for.
course.
And you know
They, and then,
they talk to black women like the black
mhm.
woman is supposed to just be thankful that his little lily white ass
Yes,
is over there.
yes,
Like, no,
yes,
sir.
yes, yes,
Oh my
yes,
God. I'm just like, I'm
yes.
not flabbergasted, but I had a white guy had said to me one time, he was like, oh, if I
Mhm.
dated Nubian queens, I would date you. And I just looked at him like, what? Nubian
If
queens?
I
Who
dated
says that?
though,
If I dated
but you notice
Nubian
he said if
queens,
I dated,
yes,
then I would date you. Oh
exactly. And I said,
gosh.
no, we are not
How
having
was it?
that.
Like I've never had sex with a white boy. Like how? What's the difference? Is
You
it
know
different?
what? Can I tell you okay, look.
Yes, you could be honest. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. I'm always embarrassed when I tell friends this. I've never had sex with a black man before. And my friends are always
Really?
like, not that I've only had sex with white men, but I've had sex with like everyone else but black men.
Mm.
And my friends would be like, girl, you're missing out. You're missing out. And I'm just like, I'm sure I am. But, like, even now, I feel like the black man is not attracted to me. They're just not. And I don't know if they could sense that I've been tainted by a white man or what is or whatever it is.
Oh,
But, like, they're just not. And so, like, I've had sex with white men, and mainly white men and like Latino men. So Latino men, I feel like I
Wow.
can connect with a little bit more,
Yeah.
especially like culturally than white men. And honestly, like
Wow.
the best sex I've ever had in my life was with like a Jewish guy.
I heard
You
about
know,
that.
like
Really?
girl. Anyway, though, I'm not gonna go into details with that. Yes, but yes. Yes, he's Jewish
Wow.
and he's Nicaraguan, and he feels like
Wow.
he like connects with both of those. So and he grew up in Oakland, so he's definitely not your average white, but there's still though there's
Mhm.
still that part of him that is. But I haven't had any kind of like race kind of thing with him. I'm gonna say yet because I don't want to give anybody too much credit. But I hadn't had any like race thing with him. The only person that I dated that I never felt race was the end of our relationship was my daughter's father. So my daughter is biracial. She's black, but she's high yellow, whatever.
Mhm.
She's black though. I'm raising her as a black child because that's what she's going to be seen as in society.
Mhm.
But my daughter's complexion is she's relatively fair, and her features though to me, she like has my nose, has my like she looks like me, but a fair version, okay? And just for people who are listening, I look black. I'm blackity black, black mixed with black. But she looks like me. She's just fair. And I've been asked in public when she was a baby because her hair was bone straight,
Mhm.
dark black, and she was very, very, very pale. So people would come up to me and ask me, "Oh, how long have you been watching her?" And I'm just like, "Well,
Mm.
what do you mean? How long have you been watching her like with the family and everything?" I said, I'm her mother." And okay, mommy, hold on. So that was yes. Do you see I'm on the phone? That's fabulous. Can you turn it down, please? So, that was something that I was not to say I wasn't prepared for. Hold on. I'm sorry. I see. That's so cute. Do you want mommy's headphones? No? Okay. But that was something that I was not really prepared for was I knew I was gonna get looks and stuff because her father was he's white, but yes, Bobby. I think I honestly got more looks though from hold on. Okay, but mommy needs to do something, okay? Okay, hello?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I honestly got more kind of negative looks from black people though than I have from white people. White
Mm.
people were more looking like fetishizing my daughter. Oh, she look at her hair, so curly, and oh, her skin, she's so lucky she has such rosy cheeks. And I'm like, why is she lucky that she has rosy cheeks? Like, what about that brings her luck?
Mhm.
Like, oh, she's so pretty when she grows up, and I'm like, why? Is it because she's fair? Is it because her hair texture is different? Like, why is that? So that's something that's kind of like I don't know. I feel like because I definitely made a conscious decision to have her knowing that she was probably gonna be lighter than me. And I've been thinking about like her as growing up as a black woman, dating, um, right? And a
Mhm.
part of me does not a huge part of me does not want her to date white men just because I feel like if she does, they're going to be thinking of her as like kind of a key to blackness, like, oh, I can say these things, I can do certain things because my girlfriend is black. And then like the type of black she is, because let's be real, there's colorism in our community and a lot of us
Mhm.
are uncomfortable addressing it.
Definitely.
And I don't
Right.
want them thinking like, oh, they can date her because she's black, but she's not too black, so she's acceptable to like she's a acceptable color to whites. And I also don't want, if I'm just being selfish, I don't want my blackness to be erased. And I feel like if she marries
Mm.
a white man, I don't exist anymore because what are
Right.
the chances that, I mean, she might pass down, yeah, whatever, your grandma was this, your grandma was that, but what are the chances that her kids would, you know?
Right.
And that's something that's so important to Black culture is your oral history, and if you don't have that, you don't exist anymore. So like, I don't want her to like date. I don't want her to marry a white man. Call me racist, whatever, but I'm sorry, my culture's too important for it to be erased like that. And
Right.
then on the other hand, though, I was thinking about her dating Black men kind of makes me like a little bit salty too because of the whole colorism thing. I don't want her dating some guy and him fetishizing her because she's light skinned either. And that's so I'm kind of just like, please just marry a Black guy or not anything but anything but white, and I'll be okay. But like, that's I don't even know what the question was. I just went off on my own little tangent. I'm so
No, that's okay.
sorry.
That's okay. Because I mean, you said a good point because a lot I think about when you have said you didn't want your blackness to be erased, I think about Meghan Markle, right? Even though
Mhm.
her mom is black, her dad's white, and she
Yeah.
can go for passing, her marrying into, British, the whole British family, the royal family,
Right.
it's like the erasure of blackness is pretty much in full effect.
Literally. Yes.
Right. But people are like, oh, but the baby is brown. But you can look at
Is
that
he?
kid.
That baby is not that
Exactly.
redhead
And
baby.
thank you. I'm like, that baby's not brown. And then people are like, oh, he got, like he has a drop of black blood in him. He's
Mhm.
black. And I'm like, no,
Mhm.
her whole blackness is erased,
Is yes. And
Because
you know
that's
the
so
how
thing
it
that white
goes
people
by
like to
the.
talk about too is say like, oh, but there was that one monarch in Britain who was black.
mhm.
Have you heard? But I'm like, but did they tell you the part about how when she was painted to look black, the royal family
Right.
got upset because they didn't want her being displayed as ethnic or anything, so they had her portrait repainted to look more white. They didn't
That
tell
was
you
Exactly.
Queen
that part.
Charlotte.
And
Yep.
That
then it's
was
like
Queen
you're
Charlotte.
literally married to fucking the people that colonized us in the first place. Like
Yes.
that's who you marry, and that's the kids that you have.
And
That
also, I want to go farther back with that because what you can hardly find a picture of when it comes to the royal family is Queen Sophia, who was a fully black woman. She was like the last full-blooded African queen they
mhm
had
Mhm.
before they started sleeping with white people and becoming lighter. Because once the third
mhm
generation happens, that child is white. They did that in Australia to the
exactly
Aborigines.
Right.
exactly
Right. Interesting.
racial cleansing,
Right.
and that's what
Yeah.
And I think that's
I
why they're
don't want
pushing
that.
interracial right now. I really believe that that is why they're
Mhm.
pushing interracial relationships now because white people know they're dying, so they need to get their numbers up.
Yes,
And have
yes.
you guys noticed that like biracial, quote unquote, biracial children are coming out lighter and lighter?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, listen. Can I tell you something? Can we go off on another tangent and have a crazy theory?
Okay.
So we talk about like the food and stuff, how they're messing with the food and everything. I
Mhm.
honestly feel like I don't know if they put something in our food, but I don't know if that's even possible to put something in your food to tamper with your genes. But I
It
feel like
is.
growing up, because my cousins, I have two cousins who are black and Mexican, right? You look at them, they're black, right? Every mixed race child that I know that was born maybe like in the 90s or earlier than that, it was
Mhm.
obvious that they were black. Like you knew that they were mixed, but you knew that they were black first. It was like,
Right.
oh, what are you like? You're black and something else. Now the kids that are coming out some of them don't even look. My daughter, somebody thought she was Filipino one time. Somebody thought she
Mm.
was like she can pass for other ethnicities besides white, but she doesn't. When you first see her running down the street, it doesn't register like that's a black kid.
Right.
But she's black, and I was worried about her growing up because she doesn't know her father's family. But growing up, I was worried that she would not identify. You've ever seen Imitation of
Yes, it's your
Life?
life. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
did not want a Sarah Jane moment, right? So I'm just like, she needs to know that she's black. So I tell her history, all of that. And culturally, because that's what she's grown up around, I have no worries that she knows that she's black.
Right.
But, like,
I know
the
that a lot
kids
of
now,
biracial kids they have a
hmm
hard time like moving through black society, because the black people they're around are
Mhm.
either coons. Let's keep it a buck.
Mhm.
The black people they're around are either coons, or they're escaping their blackness through sex with white people. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like you have this generation of black kids growing up now that don't even look black, that are being told race doesn't matter and we're all one. And you see all these advertise. Because when I started dating pretty young. I was 14. I'm 30 now, and it wasn't like a popular thing to be dating a person of a different ethnicity. Like, it happened. It's not like it wasn't common, but it just wasn't like out there. You didn't see that in advertisements. So I
Right.
remember
Like,
when
but,
I first saw
but where
that in
we
like an
grew up,
Old Navy ad. Yeah, like when I first saw it in like an Old Navy ad, I was like, oh, like that's nice to see, because I was in a relationship with a white man and they had this white man and this black woman with their little interracial baby. So I was like, oh, cute, look at the little family. But now it's like so forced in your face, and if you notice,
right?
it's always a black woman and a white
That
Mhm.
man.
is
Yep.
no,
You
not just
rarely
white
see
men,
the times they show
goofy
the
looking
black
white men.
men. Yes. And this is like this gorgeous black woman and like this nerdy white man or this stupid white, but it's saying like, see, even you can get someone like this,
Exactly.
like to white men, right? And
Yeah,
then and then you also see like if they ever show an advertisement with a black man and an other ethnicity for a woman, it's always like a flash that you see the black man, right?
That's
But
yeah,
you
true.
barely see this black man tainting these delicate white women, or you don't see the black man at all, but you see the white woman with her interracial kids, and you know that those kids' father is black, but you don't see the
Yep.
father, which is another thing. Like, why is the father not present too? Why don't you
Exactly.
see the father with his kids? Because that's
right,
reinforcing the fact that black fathers are not in the household. Because why you see this white woman dragging around three interracial kids and the father's not there? And that's
Yep.
subconsciously, people aren't really looking at that. They're just looking at it as like, oh yeah, they're showing diversity in families, but where are these whole happy black families in advertisement? Where are those?
right.
Those are the
Yeah.
ones
And
that
I
I'm
just
looking
want to
for.
say, like,
Where are the
we're
single black fathers that we're not seeing represented either? Where are those?
right, but I just want to say, like, where we grew up, dating interracially meant somebody with white, because there were a lot of people, that we went to school with who dated either like
Mhm.
Tongans or Samoans
Mhm.
and maybe a couple
Right.
Mexicans, but like now it's just basically interracial is white and anything else, you know?
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
true.
God, you're right. Because they're trying to preserve their legacy. Sorry,
Yeah.
y'all, you're going extinct. Okay.
Yeah.
Good,
They
What
praise
was
are.
the
Ogun.
Yeah. They're gonna
Listen, what was
sink.
it? Survival of the fittest, right?
Yep.
If you guys
Yeah,
aren't surviving, guess what? Nature has chosen to pick you off. Just deal with it. Go in
and
peace.
Yeah.
you know what the thing is, because they've lived their entire beings, their entire lives in these little enclaves where they, smoke meth
Mhm.
and smoke crack and fuck their cousins, and their genes are literally falling apart.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. They are. They really
I
are.
still think there's something in the food though that's making these kids so like, cause I don't like
Yeah.
I don't consider myself mixed at all. I mean, we already know what happened with slavery, what happened with colonization. There's very few like pure African people that are like that are Black Americans now. But I did not expect my daughter to come out that fair. I'll be honest with you, I was really kind of sick when I saw. I was just like, what happened to me, like in there? Because I don't see me in there at all.
Mm.
Like, she's closer in color to her father, who's fair with freckles, than she is to me. And
Wow.
that just was
Really?
like, oh my God, like if she marries someone white, I am gone. She's
Yeah.
like Meghan Markle's complexion.
Wow.
And yeah. So even my family was like, because you know how a lot of, like, you know how we come out lighter anyway until the melanin kicks in, right? So they're
Right.
Mhm.
just like, don't worry, girl, she'll get her color, the melanin will come in. I'm like, okay, you're right. And it's 3 years later, and she has not darkened a bit. So I'm just like, well, so when she gets in the sun even a little bit, I'm like, yes, let that melanin come through, even though it's a little bit of tan. I'm like, that little bit of tan matters to me though. Because it was like, did I give birth to this child? Did they switch her at birth? But
Wow.
that's hard. Like, I don't want to be erased. I don't want the people in my family to be erased. My grandfather, who came to Oakland to East Oakland when it was predominantly white and chose to move his family here and have grapefruits thrown through their window, being called nigger because he wanted his family to have a better opportunity, so he moved them here when there were only two other black families in the neighborhood. Like that kind of resilience, that kind of strength, I don't want that to fade in one
Mhm.
generation, you know?
Right.
And that terrifies me. That really terrifies me. So I'm trying to fill
Definitely.
her with as much blackness as possible. But I feel like at the same time, another reason I think I started dating white guys, because I had really wanted to delve into this, like, because I've been trying to like go to therapy more because there's a lot of like generational stuff and cultural stuff I think we need to get rid of in the black community. So like I've been going like talking to therapists and things, and I've been thinking like why is it that I just like didn't even really make a much of an effort to try to date black men and just
Mhm.
kind of accepted like white men will date me, I'll just date them, right? Or why didn't I make more of an effort to try to like be a part of my culture? Why did I just kind of go veer the other direction, right?
Mhm.
And I
Right.
think because my grandfather, when I was younger, used to tell me all these horror stories about white people. He always be like, you know what, you can never trust a white person. And at the time, my best friend was white, and I was just like, well, my best. And her grandfather was a German Nazi who used to say,
Mm.
don't ever trust black people because all black people are horrible, lazy, whatever. And
Mhm.
so we would go to school and laugh and say like, my grandfather hates you, and she'd be like, my grandfather hates you, and we would laugh about it because here we are, we're best friends. And so my grandfather would always say though, like you can never trust a white person because it when the rubber meets the road, if a black person is put in a position where they have to help someone else, they're gonna do what they can to try to help the other person, regardless of what race or whatever, because that's just experience. That's just how black people are. Like if you can prove that you are not even you don't even have to prove yourself, but if you just come into our communities and get to know us and have show a genuine interest, you'll be accepted in that community. I don't know any other community that could go in and show a genuine interest and just be welcomed with open arms. Like
Mhm.
no other community. And so my grandfather would say, like, if your back was up against a wall and your best friend who's white had to choose between saving you or saving themselves, or even not even saving you but helping you out or keeping themselves in a certain position, he's like, you better guarantee they're going to keep themselves in that position before they
Mm.
do anything for you. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, Gramps, you're old and bitter because you grew up in like Jim Crow South. Like you don't know, like this is California, Gramps. People aren't like that in California, Gramps. So I was like, I kind of would push that kind of thought process away
Mhm.
and kind of veer more towards not doing like anybody who was kind of affiliated with that. I didn't want to hang out with that. And at the time, white people were all about peace and love. Let's all get along with it. No, there's no race. Of course, they want you to think there's no race because you go into the world thinking you're on the same playing field as everyone else, just to realize that you are not at
Right.
all. So like,
Mm.
it took me having to learn the hard way. And like, her father
Yes.
was prime example when we found out we were pregnant because Sophia was not expected. I didn't know. I was not sure if I was gonna go through with the pregnancy, to be honest with you. And he was reassured me, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna be a family." And then 3 months in, I can't do this. I'm scared. His family doesn't even know Sophia exists,
Oh my God.
and she's 3 years old. But I can't, I can't do it. I'm scared. All these excuses, right? And I'm sitting here thinking like, I've already told all my friends, I've already told my family, my job knows, everybody knows I'm pregnant now, and now you're choosing to leave. And when it got hard, that's when he like took off. Forget the fact that I have his child, raising his child. What, mommy? It's clean. So forget all of that. But I had to see, like, for example, in every situation I've been in too, where say I had like a white friend, I would help them out with something. Hey, can you do this favor for me? Oh, I would love to, but, and I'm just like, really? Like
Mm.
even after I did this for you, or boyfriends, oh, I'm nervous to meet your family. I'm like, don't be nervous. Like, my family is cool, whatever. And then if I wanted to like see them, oh, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Don't say too much of this. Don't say. I'm like, but huh? I just want you to like. I just want them to like you. And I'm like, but if they're gonna not like me for who I am, then that's not something I want to be involved in anyway.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So,
I have a question. You had sparked a question. Because I
mhm,
hear folks all the time. I know folks who just only date white men, and they say, well, I only date
mhm,
white men because they treat me better and they get married quicker compared to black
lies.
men. And I think that's a effing lie. I have to say effing lie. That's a effing lie, because I haven't seen any of them
mhm,
yet, even engaged, never mind married. And I'm like, well, if
mhm.
they treat you better, why you not married yet?
Yeah.
So do you hear that all the time? And what's their view on marriage when it comes to a black woman? Do you see them marrying black women quicker, or you see them marrying white women quicker? And what's up with that?
I see them dating black women, filling black women's heads with all these promises of what's going to be, and then leaving them to marry the white woman because they get their fill out of whatever they need from the black woman. They get their therapy, they get their support, they get their love, whatever, black women are going to ride for you. And they get hyped up and confident. And then I see like a lot of black women like really building some of these raggedy ass white men up from the ground up,
Mhm.
showing them how to dress, giving them the confidence they need to thrive in the world, and then they leave them for a white woman. So the white woman gets the fruit of what this black woman has been harvesting this whole time. Or not harvesting, but cultivating this
Mhm.
whole time. And
Right.
that's something that frustrates me. One incident, I actually have a cousin. I have three cousins who are they're biracial, they're black and Mexican. But their father, who's Mexican, he and my aunt, she's she has a very deep complexion,
Mhm.
and her husband is very fair, so he would pass, right? His name, I'm not gonna say his name, but he gentrified his name, okay,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
get through society.
Right.
So, and he took his kids to San Diego, which at the time when they were growing up in the 70s was very, very white. Like, it's still very white, but it was very, very white. They were the only three black kids in their school, and they're all related. So imagine how that was. Yes, those are too small, but pull them on anyway. So, hold on. Put these on. Sorry, not those. Mommy wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. So, so they grew up in San Diego at that time, and they were ridiculed. They were called all kind of racist names, and their father kept them from our side of the family because, for whatever reason, whatever agenda he had of blending into society, moving up in rank, whatever he wanted to do. But they didn't grow up with us. So even though they're my cousins, they don't feel like family when they come over. One of them does. One of my cousins does, but the other two don't. All
Mhm.
three of them married white. And when I
Mm.
say white, I mean like one of my cousins married like a blonde, blue-eyed white. They only ever dated white people. Um, Two of them got married, have kids who are very, very fair. One of my cousins, the one who dated the blonde, blue-eyed guy, he's cheated on her so many times with white women. She will not leave him because that's her white savior or whatever. She won't leave him though. They have three kids together. All three can pass,
Hmm.
and I've seen her like beam when people say how beautiful her kids are, like beaming with joy, right? Because
Mhm.
I guess, never saw herself as beautiful because of her complexion. Like, she's not. None of them are as dark as their mother, except for the boy cousin, the male cousin, and he only ever dated white women. He did. He actually got involved with. He wouldn't get involved with BSU, but he would get involved with like La Raza and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
he would only claim like the Mexican side, even though it is clear he is black. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm Afro Latino," because he felt like he could get a leg up, I guess, by saying that. And
Mhm.
then his kids are very fair, so they only ever try to date white people. Even now, like, all three of them have like white spouses or a white boyfriend or something like that. And so that always kind of sickened me because I didn't never went into it thinking like I'm only gonna date a white man because I definitely met headhunters like that too. Girls that will like
Right.
burn the mess out of their hair, skin bleach. I'm only gonna date a white man. I'm only gonna hang out at the country clubs. I'm gonna play tennis. Not saying black people can't play tennis because obviously Serena Williams is like the GOAT, but like hanging out in arenas where they know that they're going to be around a lot of white people, hanging out with friends that they know are going to connect them to a white man, and like that is their goal. Is I'm gonna have a light skinned baby with curly hair, and oh, you're so lucky because you have some. And I'm just like, excuse you, like
Mm.
have some respect for yourself, because I'm like, if your kid, like when your kid grows up, what are you going to teach them is like the standard of beauty, like them? You're going to be putting yourself down to hype them up. Cause like my daughter is going to her daycare. Her best friend is white, right? At her daycare, and she now is like trying to. No, those are fine. Hold on. So she is weird. She's just now recognizing like color in a more
Mhm.
impactful way. So this is something that, oh my God, it breaks my heart. But she was telling me one day, like her new favorite Disney character is Ariel, okay? It used to
Okay.
be Moana. She used to love Moana, knows all the songs, but her white best friend loves Ariel, right? And so now Sophia loves Ariel. And I was like, well, how come you don't like Moana? And she said, Moana is yucky. I don't like Moana. I was like, but
Mm.
why is she yucky? Like, why is she yucky? And she's just like, she's just yucky. I don't like her. I like Ariel. No, Sophia has never seen Little Mermaid, ever. And she's like, oh, I love Ariel. I was like, okay, sing Kiss the Girl then. And she, trying to make something up. I was like, okay, sing Moana. And she started belting out everything word for word. I was like, so I think what it is you really do like Moana, but your friend likes Ariel, so you think you need to like Ariel. And she was, no, 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 I just like Ariel. Or she would tell me the other day we were in the car, she was saying how, well, she asked me, oh, when I grow up, what am I going to look like? And I said, I don't know. You're probably gonna look like yourself. And she's like, well, what about my skin? What's my skin gonna look like? And I was just like, I don't know. You may stay the color you are. You may get a little bit darker. You may get a little bit lighter. I don't know. I don't want to get darker. I don't want to be brown. And I was just like, well, why don't you want to be brown? She's like, because brown is yucky. I don't want to be
Mm.
brown. And my daughter never even said words like yucky until she became friends with this little girl.
Oh
So
goodness.
she's like, I don't want to be brown. Brown is yucky. I don't want to be brown. I don't want to be black. I want to stay tan. And I was just like, well, I said, do you think mommy is yucky? And she said, no. She's like, mommy is beautiful. And I was like, but mommy is brown. I was like, but and you said brown was yucky, so that means mommy's yucky? And she's like, no, no, mommy's not yucky. She's like, brown looks good on you. I don't want to be brown though.
Mm.
And I was just
Wow.
like,
Wow. Oh my God.
and she's
And she's
3, and I was just
3.
Three.
like, oh my
Oh,
God.
Oh my God.
And the little girl who's her best friend, I remember meeting her mom, and something about her mom just we didn't really click. Like I clicked with all the other moms in her little daycare, but that mom in particular I just didn't. And she's German, and or she's
Mm.
Bosnian or something like that. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, what is your child telling my daughter? And it's pissing me off because Sophia emulates her so much, and she doesn't really know what she's saying. But I'm just like, girl, like you can't like I don't want her to feel that way. We're picking dolls out for her. She wants a baby alive. She's been asking for that for a year. So I told her, okay, I'll get you baby alive for Christmas. And so we're looking at all the dolls, and there's a doll that's like white with green eyes and brown bangs and like a puff on the top of her head, and she looks like her best friend, right? And then I showed her another doll that was brown with 2 puffs, and I usually put her hair like that. She had 2 puffs, and she was brown, had brown eyes. And at first I showed her the brown doll, and she was like, oh, she's so cute. I want that doll. Because all of her baby dolls and Barbies, I buy black Barbies. She doesn't have any white Barbies. So, like, she like was liking the black doll, and then she saw the white doll. She was like, "Oh, I really like that one. I like that one." I said, "But you just said you like the brown doll. I'm gonna get you this doll with the 2 puffs." I try not to say like the brown and the white. I said, "But you just said you like the doll with the 2 puffs." And she's like, "No, that doll's yucky. I don't want that yucky doll." I said, "Why do you keep saying that?" I said, "Why? What about her is yucky? I just don't like her. I don't like her hair. I just don't like her. I don't want that yucky doll. I want this doll." And I said, "Do you want that doll because she looks like your friend?" And she said, "Yes, my friend is so pretty, and I want that doll because that doll looks like my friend." And I was just like, "You know what?" I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll get you this doll. I'll get the doll with the 2 puffs, and I'll play with that doll because I think she's really cute." I said, "So I'll play with her since you don't want to." And she was like, "Well," she was like, "Never mind. I'll play with that doll. I want to play with that doll." And then
Wow.
it just, yeah, and this whole Ariel thing, she's so stuck on Ariel. She's like, "I want to have red hair like Ariel. How come my hair is not red like Ariel?" I said, "Well, Ariel is brown like mommy." And she's like, "No, she's not. Don't say that. Ariel is not brown. Ariel is peach." I said, "No, she's not." And so I showed her the picture of Haley as Ariel. And she was like, "That's not Ariel." I said, "Oh, yes, it is. That's the only Ariel you will ever know as far as I'm concerned, because she hasn't seen the original Little Mermaid, so I'm going to take her to see that one when it comes out." But it's just like, and I've told my kids at school, like, representation is so important because okay, hold on, Mommy. We had a whole conversation about Black Panther because we were talking about civil rights, and I was telling them how Black Panther is related to civil rights. And they're like, "Hold on, Mommy." They're like, "Oh, no, it's not." I say, "Yes, it is." So I had to explain kind of like the dichotomy between like MLK and Malcolm X. And all these kids have never even heard of Malcolm X. So I had to like explain to them like all of that and how like Killmonger and Black Panther, because I had asked them, I initiated by asking them who's the villain in Black Panther. And a lot of them were like, "Killmonger's the villain, Killmonger's the villain." And then one of my kids was like, "T'Challa's the villain." And I said, "Okay, I want to hear from you. Why do you think T'Challa's the villain?" He said, "Because he was like letting these people come in. He wasn't trying to help the black people that were doing whatever." And then I said, "Okay, well, does anybody else have any opinions?" Only one person said Claw, the white guy who was coming in stealing vibranium. And they were like, "Claw was the villain." Hold on. Okay. They were like, Claw was the real villain because he was the one coming in saying that Africans didn't know how to use anything and he was stealing their stuff. I said, "Thank you." I said, Claw was the villain. I said, Killmonger was not the villain. Killmonger came from a society that he saw people were being disenfranchised, people were being taken advantage of, were not given fair opportunities, and he wanted to empower those people. So how is that him being a villain? And they were just like, oh, like things started to click. But I had to tell them, like, you know what? Wait, hold on really quick. Stand up, Mommy. Up. Okay, sorry. I lost my train of thought. But no, I was just trying to tell them, like, representation is important because like, again, a lot of my kids are Southeast Asian, and I'm telling them, like, Black Panther was so important to, regardless of how people felt about the movie, like, it was important to see a black superhero who wasn't just a sidekick, and to see strong, powerful black people who were proud of being African, because when I was growing up, being called African was an insult. And then all of a sudden, after Black Panther came out, everybody wanted to be, "I'm proud to be African, I'm Wakanda forever," whatever. And so, like, I was telling them, like, it is important, though, to see that. I said, because, I said, when you think of the history of black people, what do you think of? And all of them said slavery. I said, but black people did not start out, it didn't start out as slavery. In Africa, that's not how it was. I said, we were thriving communities. There are still thriving communities that they don't show you. There's royals in Africa. They don't show you that. Please close this. Thank you. So I was trying to tell them, like, you being represented is important too. I said, because how many Indian superheroes do you see? and I'm like, that are not in Bollywood, that are in mainstream American media. How many Indian superheroes do you see? And I had a kid in my class who was Sikh. I said, how many Sikh superheroes do you see? He's like, I've never seen a Sikh superhero. And I said, okay, but who do you see as a superhero that they make you think you want to emulate? Superman. What does Superman look like? Oh, he's white. And I said, okay. I said, you guys have to start thinking more like this and not thinking that. Thank you. I said, you have to start thinking more abstract about what is being shown to you. I said, because the media is going to lie to you, and you need to be able to decipher the lies. And so, like, my kids, like, some of my teachers are like, I don't know what you're telling these kids, or some of the parents are like, I don't know what you're telling these kids, but please keep doing it because they've changed. Like, something in them has changed, and they're questioning everything, and they're, like, wanting to investigate things. I was like, because I'm thinking of the future that I have to prepare for my child.
Mm-hmm.
And the bullshit that's been going on for all these years, I don't want that anymore. So if my impact can be as a teacher to try to educate the younger generation so that we can actually progress and move forward, then that's what I'm going to do. And, like, I think more teachers should be doing that too, because I'll tell my kids a lot of the times we're going to have to take a break from curriculum today because something popped up in the news and we need to address it.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm out of breath. I don't know what we were talking about. Sophia, no thank you. I don't even know what that is, and she's rubbing it on her like lotion. Hold on. Some hair products. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.
All my good Carol's daughter stuff going to waste. But yeah, I don't know if anything that I said was insightful but I just know my experience dating white men. I think it's become more of an experiment for me now, just to kind of investigate like why. What's the fascination?
Mm-hmm.
I guess with like black, because I feel like more and more white men are really starting to date black women. I see more interracial couples than I can tell you whenever I go out.
Definitely. I mean, and that's anywhere USA now because I live in the South and I see so
Mhm.
many interracial couples and I'm seeing more white men, with black women. And I'm like, okay, what's
Mhm.
going on with that? And then you seeing more
Yeah.
biracial children than ever.
But you
Um,
notice they're always with their white grandparents.
Right, exactly. They're always with their white
Mm.
grandparents and they're never with I barely see them with like their black grandparents or their black moms. And I remember one time I was in a restaurant, it was interesting because it was this biracial boy,
Yeah,
he was
I'll
with
open
his
it.
mom and then he was all like, I'm white and I'm black and I was just looking like, what? And he
Okay.
like said it so loud in a restaurant. He's like, I'm white and I'm black. And I was like, okay, we hear you. We see you over there in the
Oh
corner.
my gosh.
And she was on a date with a white guy. And I was like, he was like wanting to melt in the chair. And I was like, just want to let y'all know he's biracial. But, you're seeing that a lot. But I had another question.
Yeah.
How did your family feel, your parents feel about, you dating interracially? Like, did you have a conversation or they're like, well, that's who she is. We know, one day she's going to be
Yeah,
with a white guy.
I think the majority, I mean, in the beginning, I had my grandfather tell me that, because my grandfather is gone now, but when he was alive, okay, I'll make you a puppet. My grandfather told me he said he would disown me if I ever joined the military, because he's like, you're not going to fight for a country that doesn't fight for you. But like a lot of my grandfather was in the military, and a lot of my family is military, so that was kind of weird for me to hear from him. And then another thing was, don't ever bring a white man to my house. He's like, I will disown you if you ever bring a white man to my house. And so I was just like, okay. So I dated them, and I just never brought them to meet my grandfather. And my mom always knew. She was never like, she never really had too much of an opinion about it. She wasn't like, don't do it, but then she wasn't like, please do it. She just was kind of like, okay, I mean, you can't control who you like. If that's who you like, then whatever. She's like, but just know that there are going to be challenges with that. Like when you're seen in public, be prepared for dirty looks sometimes. Be prepared for opinions that you probably don't want. Be prepared for your kids having to deal with this, and that. She's like, just know what you're getting into when you decide to date a white man. And then my cousins just kind of were like whatever about it. It was something like because I guess they had seen me dating white guys or whatever. They were just like whatever, that's just Aarika, she's just gonna date a white guy. And there are a lot of interracial couples in my family, so it was never like too big of a deal. But nobody else was really white except for those cousins I told you about, but they're not really part of, they isolate themselves from the family. But so nobody was really like had too many strong opinions about it, except I was literally just talking about this with my aunt today. I had brought one of my boyfriends to my house. This was like the second time I had tried to introduce someone to my family. And here, give it to me. Hurry, 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 quick. So I had brought him over. We were just gonna watch a movie, and I live in a house with a lot of people, so a lot of family come in and out of the house. So I had invited him, and my cousins were like, "Oh, we're gonna make your time miserable with him. We're gonna like antagonize you." So that kind of irritated me. And then when they saw him, they just kind of sat there. They didn't say anything. They just like stared at him. And then my uncle comes in and he's drunk and he starts saying like, "Oh, what is this white man doing in this house?" Now, he was Spanish, which is white. It's European, but they just speak Spanish. But anyway, he was Spanish, and he was like, well, I don't identify as white. He's like, I'm Hispanic. And he was like, I don't care. You don't need to be in my house. And so my uncle had a strong opinion about it, but no one else really has. And no one has like kind of ostracized Sophia at all. They just accept her. Every time we go out, people look at us so strange because they see her with all these black people and they just see this little light-skinned girl or whatever she looks like. And so that was never, family was never a thing. Now I have friends who have really strong opinions. Like one of my friends was like, oh, I guess I'll have to accept my little biracial niece or nephew. Like this is before I had Sophia. But they were like, since you're so like hell bent on dating white men, I guess I'll have to accept them because I love you. He's like, but just know I'll be like disappointed by it. And I'm just like, well, that's not. But hold on one second. Okay, so there was never like, that was the only time I had like strong opinions about it though.
Really? Like, see, when I was growing up, my mother told me hell no to white men. Because I remember her mom asked my mom, I said, Mom, what would you do if I married a white guy? She said I wouldn't have a daughter anymore. So I was
Oh
like,
my
what?
gosh.
I was like, what? She was like, what you want with a white man? What you got to talk to him about? What do you what can he do for you?
Oh
That
my
is what she
goodness.
told me. That was, I want to say I was about maybe 13. You know, when you're at that age, you're just starting to
Mhm.
figure out what kind of boys you like. And
Mhm.
Mom, what would you do if I date a white man or I married a white man? I just wouldn't have a daughter anymore. I was like, oh.
Oh my gosh. No,
Wow.
I never really had too much pushback like that before.
So I was like, well, okay, then I guess I'll just stay liking black boys.
Yeah. Yeah, because some black parents are very adamant about that. Like, if he can't use my comb, then nah, he can't come to the crib.
That's real.
So it's like I had mentioned last time. Like my brother dated a white girl, and like my grandmother was like, "No, you do not, date white people," because she had three nervous breakdowns because the era she lived in Alabama, just really white folks was just so atrocious towards her. So
Mhm.
when she saw my brother's ex-girlfriend, she was like, "Don't you ever bring her up here." And I think just my parents is like, "No, that's just not." And they didn't have to say it to us. It was just like, y'all know better than that. So,
Mhm.
but it's funny because we have in my family, we have folks who's marry white folks, but they don't bring them around the family, which is interesting. And then I have a cousin,
Wow.
yeah, they don't bring around the family. If they do, it's like, okay, yeah, he married that white girl. Okay, life, we're still moving forward. But like the older generation, like my great aunt married a white guy, and he never came to Alabama. Like he never came to Alabama. My aunt never brought him down. But
I wonder how, like, see, that's, mommy, come here. Come here. Can you finish making my necklace? That's like one thing with Sophia's father. Like, he told me, he had tried to prepare me to meet his family, and he said that he has, at the time his grandfather was alive, thank you so much, he said that his grandfather was racist and had disowned one of his cousins for marrying a black woman. And so he was like, I don't care what that old man thinks, like, I don't, like, I just wouldn't care, I would introduce you to them anyway. But when I got pregnant, he would not, his family doesn't even know Sophia exists. So I'm sitting there like, okay, are you
Is he in her
ashamed?
life?
Like, that's the first thing I asked him. I was like, I said, are you ashamed that your daughter is black? Like, is that the thing? And he's like, no, that's not what it is. But then I don't understand why you wouldn't want your mother, who you say like loves family and is family oriented, why would she have a problem meeting her grandchild? So that is
mm,
something that, because I told him, I was like, I can, and he's even tried recently to like work things out with it. He lives in Louisiana now, in New Orleans, and so he's tried to get us to move down there. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't feel safe with you. I said, because if you don't feel confident enough to introduce your family or tell your family that you have a daughter, why would I think a relationship with us will work? How would that even work? You would tell them, oh, hey, family, this is my 3-year-old daughter that I never told you guys about. Like, how would that even work? How would they accept me? You know?
yeah,
And so I'd have my friends say, like, girl, you should just try to contact their family and tell them, like, look, your son has a child. And I was like, but you know what? I don't want to do that because that's not my responsibility. I don't want them coming up with assumptions of me because I go out of my way to reach out to them. Your son needs to be the one to tell you that he has a child. That is not my business. I don't know you like that. So, like,
wow,
that's something that I felt like, are you secretly ashamed? Because why else would you not tell them that you have a kid? And he tries to say, like, oh, I don't want to tell them because you understand Latino families, if they find out I'm not taking care of my child, they're going to, like, beat me up. And I said, okay, but rightfully so. Like, who earned that beating, though? You're the one who decided not to take care of your child, so sorry. Either way, I was like, you're not going to put this on me. And you're not going to go to your family and say, I wouldn't let you see Sophia because that's an argument that we've had in the past where he'll say like, well, you didn't move with me when I wanted to move with you. And I was like, well, because I told you I didn't feel like you were reliable enough for me to leave my family when I'm pregnant to go stay with you. Like, I didn't feel safe enough with you to do that because you're so flighty. If you left me when I was pregnant, why would I want to move my daughter out there and think you're all of a sudden going to be number one dad? And so he's like, well, if I told my mom what you did, how you took my child from me, she would try to like get a lawyer. And I'm like, how did I take your child from you when you have my number, you know where I live, you know where your daughter lives? How is that me trying to keep her from you? His name's not even on the goddamn birth certificate because he wasn't there when she was born. So
wow,
I'm like, really? You have no rights to her at all. According to the state of California, you are not her father. She has no father because you weren't there to sign the birth certificate. So how are you going to threaten me with, like, custody and stuff like that, and your family doesn't even know about her? Like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm sorry with the language again, but it irks me. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I feel like I'm trying to be, I don't want to be like a combative person towards him because I don't want to fit that angry black woman thing. Like I don't want him to have that as a excuse to hang over me. But at the same time, I am angry but it's like with just cause, you know. And then rather than people just assuming women are angry, black women are angry and have attitude, why though? Have you ever considered why they might be upset?
Right.
Rather than just saying like, "Oh, you're the angry black woman." Like, why am I angry though? Or they just assume that like you can never just be mad. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't go to work and get upset about something because then I'm the angry black woman. But it's like I'm not gonna sit here and call you the angry Chinese woman or the angry white woman. I would never think to do that. You're just an angry woman. Like so why do I have to what's with the black in there? Why do I have to be the angry black woman?
Right. Wow.
Another tangent. I apologize.
Right. No,
No, that
no,
was fine.
totally.
That's fine.
So
That's okay. That's okay. So how do
educational
you
show.
how do you cope with, dealing with that, him denying your child, him not telling his family? How do you cope with that yourself? And how do you push forward with that? And do you think one day um he will acknowledge that he has this child with you?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm coping with it surprisingly easily. Like I feel like the minute he decided to leave when I was pregnant, like that's the time I was the most vulnerable. The whole reason I made it like for sure I decided okay I'm gonna keep my kid because at the time I was working a minimum wage job making $8 an hour in Northern California. That is not enough to survive here, and I didn't want to bring a child into that environment. Like I'm living with my family, and I was just like, how am I ever gonna make this work with her? Like she would be better off if I just didn't even bring her into the world. And he's like, no, we're gonna do this together. So the whole reason I like went through with that was
Mhm.
because I felt safe with him at the time. And then for him to leave, I was like, you know what? That was horrible. That was gut wrenching. And then because of that, I had a lot of resentment towards him for a long time. And I wouldn't say I resent him now, but I don't like what he's doing to my child. What he did to me, whatever. Like I was angry, had my soft fest, I got over that. But what I don't like is that when he left, because we've broken up before and then got back together, and then that's when I got pregnant. When he left, I was depressed and all of that, but I got over it. Got back together. I was not depressed because like, oh, this white man left me. It was just like I loved him. I was in love with him. He asked me to move in with him. I wasn't ready, and we broke up. And so that like kind of broke my heart. And then we got back together. I got pregnant, and now I'm sitting here pregnant with this man's child, and all that anxiety, all that depression and stuff is filtering down to my baby now. So I'm sitting here like the health of my kid now is being affected because of something you did. Like you chose to leave. And so now I'm sitting here trying to regulate my emotions so that I don't go into distress, so that I don't miscarry. Because now like I've heard this baby's heartbeat and now I'm connected to this child and I want to take care of this child. So it's like that was hurtful. And then him, like there was a chance he got to meet her. We had set up a time that he was going to meet her. He had come out here from New Orleans, and then he chickened out last minute, disappeared. Like the day we were supposed to meet, didn't show up and wouldn't answer his phone, nothing. The next day, when he was back in New Orleans, oh, my phone got stolen. I said, that's a lie. I said, because I know how you forget that I know you. You forgot that I've known you for 3 years, and that's not the truth. I was like, you keep your phone on you at all times. I could never even look at your phone. I said, so I know you didn't lose it. I said, but what you did do was my daughter was excited to see you, and now she has changed after that, too. Like, I noticed her behavior has changed to when she thought she was going to meet her dad, and then she didn't. And that, like, pissed me off. So there's nothing for me to really, like, cope with because he's never been there. So I don't feel like I've lost anything. I've handled her. I've taken care of her. I pay her bills. He's not on. He apparently to California. He doesn't even exist as the father. So I don't feel like there's like I had to cope with anything per se. What does kind of worry me though is I grew up not having a relationship with my father. I do now, and I'm grateful for that. But growing up, I didn't, and I know how that affected me and affected how I dated. And I just don't want her to have to go through those same kind of things because my mom provided like a nurturing environment for me. She supported me, all of that stuff that you would want a mom to do. She was kind of a helicopter mom, but she definitely like didn't I felt loved and supported with her. Like it didn't feel like she wasn't enough for me. But at the same time, like a dad is different. It is different. And I wanted my dad at sometimes, like if I was thinking about boys, like I wanted to talk to my dad about it. And I didn't have that. And so he's tried to use Carlos is her father. He's tried to use that against me and say, um, he's tried to say things like, oh, she's going to grow up resenting you because I'm not in her life. I said, no, she's going to grow up resenting you because you're not in her life. I said, because I've made every avenue possible for you to have a relationship with her. I've never asked you for child support because, even though my family was like, you need to get child support, it's not about you, it's about the baby. And I was like, I guess that. I said, but I know the kind of person that he is, and I don't want him to have anything to try to hang over me. I don't want him to feel like, well, I pay for this, I pay for that. No, you haven't paid for anything. I've done 100% on my own. So I don't want you to feel like you're measly. Whatever you give me a month is going to make a difference for her. Because I want her to know that when I was the one raising her, I was the one raising her. I was not relying on you because you were not there.
Wow.
And so I think now, because he thought I was just going to be like, oh, I need you, I want you. He even, you know what? He even said one of the things he was upset with me about and the reason why he left when I was pregnant is because I told him I didn't need him. And that kind of triggered me a little bit because he's like, when you said you didn't need me, that just made me like so upset and feel unloved and unwanted. And I was just like, you obviously didn't hear the whole thing then, because I told you when I was pregnant and you were freaking out, talking about you were thinking about leaving. I said, I told you I wasn't going to beg you to stay because I'm the kind of person that, like, don't cheat on me because that's horrible. Like, why would you cheat on me? Just leave me. Like, don't cheat on me, though. Don't sit there and pretend that you love me and say that you love me, but you're sleeping with somebody else. Just leave me. I'll be fine. Like, I will manage. And the thing that he did was I told him, I said, I don't need you to raise this child. I don't need you to help me bring her up, but I want you in her life. I said, but the thing is, I can't sit here and say I need you because me saying I need you means I'm going to be broken without you. And if you leave and I'm broken, how do I raise this child that still needs parents there or a parent there to raise her? I said, so no, I don't need you. Will I be hurt? Yes. Will I survive though? Yes. So I don't need you there, but I do want you to be a part of her life, and I want to raise this child together. And all he heard was, I don't need you. Like, that was it. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what makes you think you were going to be the savior, though? Because you haven't, and I think it took him seeing her grow up and thrive, because he has access to, like, my Facebook and stuff like that. So seeing her, like, thriving and living her best life, knowing he's not a part of it, that's starting to get to him now. And so now he's like, oh, I'm sorry for this and sorry for that. But I'm just like, well, you know what? Time is still going to pass. Like, either you're going to be there or you're not. Either you're going to tell your family about her or you're not. I was like, but what I'm not going to do is bring her into some toxic environment that you've created because you've chosen to twist stories around and tell your family what you want them to hear rather than the truth.
Right.
Maybe I do still resent him a little bit. But it's frustrating, though. It's really frustrating because it's hard. Single motherdom. I don't even feel like I can call myself a single mother either because there are people who are going through more than I am who are really alone. I'm so grateful that I have my family here to help me out with her. Like, I've never had to worry about, oh, I need to be somewhere. Who's gonna watch my child? How am I gonna find a babysitter? How much is that gonna cost? I just, mom, can you watch her? Yes. Grandma, can you watch her? Yes. My cousin's here. Can you watch her? Yes. So that's something that I'm grateful for. But so it hasn't felt like I've really had to like cope with him not being there. And she doesn't. I've asked her because she's very like she's pretty perceptive about things, and I've asked her like, how do you feel that he's like, do you miss him? Do you want him around? And so she started like crying, like pretending like she was crying. And so I said, like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm just pretending to be sad. And I
Mm.
was just like, oh, okay. But she's like, she was just like, I don't know him. She's like, I don't know Carlos. She's like, I know that's my dad, but I don't know Carlos. So it's just like, oh, okay, all right then. So she, I don't know how that's going to affect her later in life, but right now, she doesn't know, she doesn't have a dad to miss a dad. But I think she sees like some of these shows where they have daddy someone's like daddy pig, mommy pig, and so she asked me like, who's my daddy then? She's like, I know you're my mommy, but where's my dad? And so I was like, he just
Mm.
lives in another state. I said, but you have grandma pig here, you have cousin pig, so and so pig. And then she's like, fine after that. She's like, oh, I have lots of pigs. I have a lot of pig family. I was like, yeah, you do. You're fine.
Wow. Wow. Mhm.
Yeah. And
I
like,
just want to
I
say
think
thank
her.
you
Oh, I'm
for
sorry. Go
coming.
on.
I just want to say thank you for like coming and sharing with us.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
No problem. It was fun. I know I talked a lot, and there are a lot of like weird distractions, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on and even just being so, open and authentic to your experience, and hopefully you help somebody to learn and grow and not have them think like, "Oh, I'm in this alone. Somebody else is probably going through a similar situation." So, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to say that you are always welcome to come and share more with us if you want. If you just want to, come up here and just shoot the shit. Hello?
Are we still here?
Yeah.
No.
Hello?
Hey.
Yep, we're
Hello?
still we're still here.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I think I pressed mute by accident.
Oh, okay.
But
I was just saying, you're
yeah.
welcome here anytime. If you want to, just come and shoot the shit from time to time, you can.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was really therapeutic. And I think it's important to have a space too where you can talk openly about things like this that people might be a little uncomfortable talking about. But like you said, I know I'm not the only person going through this. So if I can help somebody else out, or just like have someone feel like, oh, okay, I'm not alone in this, then that's, even if it's one other person, that's cool. So thank
Hmm.
you guys for providing that outlet as well.
Yeah, no problem.
That's no problem. Like, our platform is built on, sharing experiences and
Hmm.
navigating those experiences through a system of white supremacy. And, like just hearing your stories of, your encounters with white men on an intimate level, it just like really just, opened up my eyes more as to, man, really, I really dodged a bullet by trying to go be with a white man.
Girl is dangerous out here.
I mean, it was a
But
point in my
yeah,
life I tried to like white boys. Like I did. I tried to like them, but they
hmm,
just always was lacking to me.
yeah. And see, that's the thing is, like, even now, I would like to. I've never dated a black man, and I do feel like a sense of shame saying that because I would love to, but I have not met any that like me back the way that I like them. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I can't keep dating white guys either. So I've been dating. The next thing is Latino is what I've been dating recently, and that like I just feel like I can connect better there because it's like, okay, no, we're not like the same, but we're all in that POC pool swimming around. So it feels a little more like home, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's ever gonna be not okay, but there's always gonna be issues. Not saying like I'm not trying to condemn interracial relationships because like if you love someone, you love someone. But at the same time, like white men, if you really love black women, get to know their culture, get to know them, get to know their triggers. Don't just fetishize, oh, you think she's pretty because she has a certain look that you like. But like truly get to know them and get to know why we are the way that we are and things affect us the way that they do and society is the way that it is. Be knowledgeable about that and don't try to cover it up with love is everybody, like love is love and it doesn't matter what color you are, because it does. And when you have kids, you're bringing black kids into this world, not biracial kids, because they're not going to be ever categorized as white. They'll be black or other or mixed race, but they'll never be able to check the white box. So just be knowledgeable of that. Don't go into it thinking that we're in a kumbaya circle, because we're not. That's all.
Well, on that note, well, on that note, thank you so much, Aarika, for sharing your experience and coming on with us. Us Tribe, thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to check us out, to listen, to share this informative and honest episode. We are on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So make sure you check us out, like us, and like us on our Facebook at The Urban Social Scientist. Any last words, ladies?
Stay safe in these streets.
Right.
Yes.
Just protect yourself and, just learn your personal code and what helps you navigate through white supremacy and share that with other people to help them.
Yes.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, Nay, take us on out.
All right, guys. So, like I said, make sure you guys are checking out our podcast family at Tone Deaf Radio Network. And with that, I say later days.
Peace.